dedicated wife, dedicated mother, country living, work-life balance, excellent health, positive attitude, and successful actor. Wait, what? Does such a thing even exist? Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to meet Aimee Miles, a story of success that will delight and inspire you. Aimee has been 100% dedicated to her acting career since childhood. She's a native to Northern California, a graduate of, I forget where, but I think it's pretty prestigious. Oh yeah, it's Wesleyan University in Connecticut. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know it's one of the top liberal arts colleges in the United States. Nice. Aimee is a bilingual Spanish speaker who did her thesis on Latin American theater under military dictatorships. Ooh, sueño divertido. She has directed, produced, taught, and mentored a load of theater over the years and is even her own meme.
How's the pie?
So good.
And although she did the LA thing for many years, she finally found bliss. And more importantly, consistent acting work in San Francisco, the other California. She now often works remotely from her home studio somewhere in the wilds of California's gold country on the slope of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. That's where the California Gold Rush started, folks, back in 1849. Gold! There's gold in them there hills. Through her San Francisco agents, Aimee has managed to develop a sense of family, as she puts it, with her agency, build a client base, and keep doing what she loves. Who could ask for more than that? She's a dear old friend of mine, and the wife of another guy I know, who used to kinda do some acting, but now thinks he's a big shot entrepreneur, businessman. He can't be bothered. Even though I know deep down he misses it dearly and pines for an alternate life, one where he didn't sacrifice all his youthful aspirations in pursuit of easy money and a quick buck. But enough about him. He's boring. Aimee is the true example of someone who never sacrificed their dreams and followed their passion. She's also got a metric ton of great advice for other actors out there coming up in the game. So pay attention. What can I say? She's delightful, and we had a great chat. Even Jay was almost moved to tears from the inspiration of it all. Oh, Jay. Here she is, Aimee Miles. Baby Jay.
What up, hot toddy?
Hold my hand. Hold me. Here we go.
Cap.
Offstage Acting Podcast.
Hello.
The excitement continues.
It sure does.
So glad to have everybody with us
So glad.
on this episode. It's going to be a fun one. I think we're going to have fun.
You too. It's gonna be very good fun.
Yeah. On the Offstage Acting Podcast, welcome back. Oh, Jay.
Oh, hot toddy.
Bit of excitement there to get the show kicked off.
It sure was. For all the listener out there, we had quite some technical issues.
Technical issues that we don't normally have, yeah. So hopefully there will be a show.
There is. We're doing it now. The show is going on, hot toddy,
Let's
and we are
hope.
doing it.
Hope and pray. I see that on my end it looks like it's recording, so that's always a bonus.
Yay.
Oh. You good?
I'm good. I'm resting from a long, double hours usual bartending week. So I'm just like chilling.
You work
That's
like
fine.
16 hours a day, 2 days?
No, yes. Well, 12 hours a day, 2 days in a row. But this last week, I did 3 of the 12-hour days and then 2 not as long days. So it was a big week. So I just worked. I was on my feet a lot.
Why are you working so hard?
It was like the special week at the club.
Oh,
It
okay.
gets crazy busy. Djokovic and Medvedev, they're tennis players. They're very famous tennis players. They come and play tennis.
Yeah, we've heard of
So
them.
everyone comes.
Yeah. What's the
Oh,
club? What's the club you work for? Do you want to
You
give
call
a
the
shout?
Hurlington. I call them the Hurlingham. The Hurlingham Club.
The Hurlingham. The
Hurlingham, darling. Yes, they
Yeah.
actually talk like
Oh,
this.
yes.
As if
Right,
it's hard
okay.
to even speak. Yeah, they actually do.
And what do you have to wear? Like a little monkey suit?
I do. I wear fur. I wear one of those top hats, that the dancing monkeys wear. No, I just wear I have a vest and a white collared shirt and black trousers and a tie and a name
A
badge.
vest. What do they call it in this country?
I don't know, a waistcoat? I don't know. They just give it to me and I wear it.
Yeah, it's a waistcoat. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm all right. My little one has chicken pox.
Oh my gosh.
I know. 8 years old. She got chicken pox. Poor thing.
Oh.
So I had to go up to London yesterday and grab her and bring her back, and now she's just chilling with a bunch of spots all over her face, watching a movie while we do our podcast. So, yeah.
Oh, cute. What's she watching?
She's watching Lyle Crocodile.
I don't know what that is, but
it's a movie about a singing crocodile. It's based on a children's book, and she loves it. And it's an hour and 46 minutes long, so I thought that's great. It'll get us through the whole. I was like, let's watch a long one.
Let's watch a long one.
He's got work to do.
That makes sense.
So, guess what we got going on for ourselves today?
Is it an interview?
It's an interview, and it's a dear old friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, not that she's old necessarily, but you know.
Old from your past.
Old from
times gone by.
Past. Yeah, I guess I've known her for 25 years.
Oh my gosh. That's a long time.
She actually was the girlfriend of one of my good buddies, John, who I met in doing theater in university. And then he he became enfianced with an actor named Aimee. What? Her name used to be Aimee Miles, as I think I got that right. Baril.
Maybe we'll ask her when she comes.
Probably. But anyway, now it's Aimee Miles. Aimee
Okay.
Miles. Good name. Good solid name. So Aimee Miles, wife to John Miles, and good friend of mine. And yeah, I haven't talked to her in a long time.
Well,
at
is
all.
Exciting.
It is
so
exciting.
It's like a catch up.
Yeah.
A public catch up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're in. That's the treat. It's gonna be kind of. And I even told her, I said, let's save all the
conversation.
Hey, how you do's? Yeah, for the podcast, just to
Hilarious.
make it like just so it's hysterical and everybody's like, oh my god. I have a bit of a surprise that I dug out.
Oh, he's laughing.
Of the archives, and I haven't watched this.
You have a talent for finding.
I do have a little talent. Well, I had this. I don't even think she knows I have this. Yeah,
Gasp.
I'm sure right now she's literally like raising an eyebrow and
like what? Going, what does he even have?
Wait a minute. What? What are we? What do we got going on here?
Okay, great.
Because she doesn't have a show reel. Apparently, there's a reason for that. I'm not sure what it is.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, but I thought, well, I gotta show something. This is just a blurb. I don't even know if it's any good.
Okay.
Let's watch it and then I'll explain.
Okay.
Kind of what it is. All right. I think as soon as we switch over, she'll kind of get it. But let's do this. And,
I'm so curious.
Yeah, here we go.
Please, I may puke. It's got to be here. It's got to be here. Amelia, help me find it.
You're wasting your time, Amelia. I know it's not here.
Right. And you knew this morning that my husband wasn't mad at me, just a passing whim, you said.
Oh, Mr. Mona, not even a midwife can foretell the perfidiosity of men.
I don't think she knows even what it is.
Perfidy.
Oh, that too?
You can't have
That's her in the middle.
Yes.
Perhaps stop it.
Amelia, does your husband, Yoko, have a...
Oh, beautiful. Oh, it's from Othello.
Well then, this much?
Oh, please, Mom, it's a matter of faith.
Ah, not that much, eh? Like this.
Miss Desdemona, it's a matter of faith between man and woman.
Come down, Amelia. It's just...
Some things are private.
It's only fair. I'm sure you know every detail about my lord.
Now, when the master piddles, the servant pulls the pot.
This much more?
The audio is terrible. I was hiding with my video camera somewhere, and
oh my god, she's making a dick joke.
Yeah, she's totally. I was we went to saw it was like a stage reading somewhere in LA, and
oh my gosh.
And yeah, that was back in my days. I would go to LA I was living in Europe, Prague and stuff. And I would come to LA with my little video camera that nobody had video cameras back then. But I was the guy. I was the
You were that
I was
guy.
that
Yeah,
guy
I
with the
see it.
little mini DV, and I just
Yes.
walk around. And I actually found a ton of home movies at parties with her and John and all kinds of friends of ours and stuff that she won't even remember. I barely remember it, and then I'm watching. I'm like, oh my god, that's right. Really fun
Wow.
stuff. The old house in LA that they lived in, and just all kinds of fun. And then we went out, and that night, she might remember this. That night, her friend who was also in there had her purse snatched off a guy, and
What a memory.
well, I found the purse and I chased the guy down with a couple others, and the cops came, and I have it all on video as well, because I knew I have a I have a criminal mind, so I
What?
was like, if he stole that purse, we found the guy, he didn't have the purse, and I was like, I bet people steal and then they stash it, yeah. So I started looking, and I grabbed a couple other people, and we found that purse. And then we
What?
found the guy, and we called the cops, and I have it all on video. I have the cops, and I have the guy, and all. It's like a crazy story. She doesn't remember any of it. That was a night in LA. Yeah, yeah. And this
Oh my
is the
gosh.
same night that we went and saw this. This was
And
in
saw this performance.
yeah, in Venice Beach, California. Yeah, yeah. Kind of fun. Let's see. Let's shall we test Amy's memory? Here she is,
Yeah,
folks.
please.
Aimee
Hi,
Miles.
Todd. Hi, Jay.
Hi.
Wow.
Wow. There's your applause. Any recollection of any of that?
I am so blown away that you have footage of that.
That, yeah.
25 years later, whatever it was.
Yeah, well, that was probably 15, 20. That's got to be 20 years
Oh
ago.
my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. Do you even remember doing that?
I remember doing it. I don't even remember the piece because it was a reading. Like, we did not develop that piece. We just did a quick reading of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was just a staged
and I
reading.
do remember the purse incident. That was my friend Brooke.
That was Brooke,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
I still have a card, or I had a card for years that she had sent me, really nice, like, thanks for that, and some gum and some things, like, she sent me really, really.
I've got to tell her story.
Yeah.
She's getting a lot.
She was really happy that I obviously found it. And we got the guy, and he was like the little Hispanic guy, and his girlfriend was all yelling, "You didn't do anything!" And he's like,
Oh
"I'm
my
innocent,
gosh.
bro." And I was like, well, I don't know, man. You look too innocent to me.
I don't know how smart it was to chase them down, like maybe back in the day, but now
This was, he was tiny. I chased him down. I grabbed him off his bike or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another incident. Good stuff.
Wow,
Justice was
Todd.
served. How are you, Aimee?
Oh my gosh. That was just a mind bend. I'm great. I'm good.
Good.
Well, yep,
Are you in your little home studio right now?
I am. Yep.
I hope we're not getting any clicking. Andy, send me a little message if you're catching clicking from her mic, but it's okay so far. You're still working, right? Bits and bobs?
I'm working bits and bobs. It changes, it changes through the days. I'm doing a lot more voiceover these days.
Right.
And singing, which has been something that I've done since I was a child, kind of got me into the business. And
Right.
I've really had a blast lately, just blowing out the pipes and getting into opera and singing some beautiful venues here in the Gold Country, and feels good. It feels good to use the whole instrument like that.
Yeah, cool. The technical issues are still continuing.
Still continuing.
So I hope we might have to put a pin in it at some point. Just maybe take a pause. So just brace yourself if we have to pause and check audio, something breaking. But I know you were singer, yeah. Jay, fancy.
Yes, I see your interest, Jay. I heard your clip of your singing that was fabulous, I must say.
Wait,
I
really?
loved it.
Wait, which one? Is it the video of me singing?
Yeah.
Jay just turned bright red. For audiences who can't see Jay, he just turned bright red.
It was beautiful.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. Musical theater background, perhaps?
Yeah.
Perhaps?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
But were you kind of a child actor, Aimee? Were you doing when did you start?
I was.
Young.
I started really young. Let's see. My first show was actually a semi-professional show in the Bay Area. I was 8 years old, and it was Oliver, the story of Oliver Twist.
Musical, right?
Yeah.
Was it the music? Yeah.
It was a musical, and I was a workhouse boy. And it was at the first show I wore a wig. And then the next time I did the show, because it was a Christmas show that they repeated the same show most years. The second time I actually cut my hair. It was 9. I was like, yeah, I'm doing it now. I'm
I'm a
method.
boy. I'm a
I'm a
method.
boy, a workhouse boy. Yeah, yeah. But it was
Nice.
some beautiful training, and it's now a really established theater. It's been around for decades. Theater Works, in now they're Mountain View, Palo Alto, but some phenomenal folks there, and such a great start for a child to be in with these professionals that were so caring and just so great about training us at the real basics. And yeah, that was my foundation. Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna put a pin in it real quick. Can we
put a
fix?
pin in it.
I'm gonna put. Yeah, I'll edit this. Can we put it? Can we fix something here, Andy? Send me a message. It's cracking on her side. Is there some tweaks maybe you can do over there, Aimee? Or I don't know if you've got. Huh?
Huh.
It's not the peak. There's a little click in there. It's either
I've
internet
never used these headphones. I don't usually use these headphones. So
or
to
the
be that
cable.
affecting
It
the
feels like the
mic.
cable is pulled out. And you're using
I've got
Chrome,
a
right?
few. I'm using Chrome. We are on Starlink though, because we are here in the country.
Right. Starlink.
So
Okay.
that's not as strong as like a wire. We don't have a cable that I could do that.
Nobody's streaming movies at home or anything right now. No, I know. I say if nobody's like using internet, downloading anything or something. Really.
No, my son's sleeping, I hope.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah,
Okay, the tabs helped.
I think so. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll pick it up like
close.
Yeah. Good. All right. We'll just pick it up where we left off. Okay. So first music. You're from the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was it? Redwood City.
Redwood City. Yeah.
Redwood
We
City,
used to
just
call it
south
we
of
used to call it Deadwood City because it
Deadwood.
was nothing back in the
Nothing
day.
going on
But
back
now
then.
it's Google and so hoppin'. It's a
Oh.
big scene. Yeah. There's a lot there now.
Yeah.
EA is there. It's so fun to like come back and work jobs in your hometown. But when it was my hometown, it was not what it is now. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, because you came down. I mean, when we first met, I think we were all in our 20s. Yeah, we had to be. And you were you hit the LA scene, like hot to trot, sort of little ingenue.
Oui.
So, how old were you, and when did you decide to kind of like break out and head it down to LA?
Or
you went to uni first, did you?
Uni. Yeah, I went to Wesleyan University in Connecticut, which was so fantastic, and there were tons of theater makers there, and that was one of the main reasons I chose it. Kids were making theater in basements, in churches, in frat houses, and it was so many. The folks from Wesleyan went on to develop Hamilton eventually. To give you an idea, like
Right.
it was
okay.
Lin-Manuel Miranda went to my school, and his first Tony Award was his senior project at Wesleyan in the Heights.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and then some of my class theater friends, they went on to start a company in New York, Backhouse Productions, and they developed In the Heights, and it went to Broadway and won the Tony.
Yeah.
And
Huge.
history was made. Yeah. So just to give you an idea of the kind of
quality and caliber.
Quality and essence of what was going on there, particularly at that time, was pretty cool. So yeah, I felt very, very old by the time I went to LA at a ripe old age of 25. I kept hearing the biz that like, oh, you're almost past your prime, kid. I was like, oh, great. But I really wanted to travel the world. I really wanted to do a couple things before I went for it. So I took a few years and traveled the world a bit. I worked for an around the world travel company, so I did a whole air trek, as it was called, because we had a multi-stop international travel company. So I went everywhere,
Right.
every continent. It was
I
awesome.
remember this
Wow,
now.
that's dope.
Real quick, I want to put another pin in it. Andy,
Yep.
can we record locally to her audio? Sorry, guys, forgot to mention, quick host note here. We did have some technical issues with Aimee, but we do get it ironed out, so please just hang on. Your patience is appreciated. All right, let's roll. Let's roll with it.
Okay.
If it's just going to be what it is. Even though we have 3 professional voiceover artists, in studios. We won't. We're gonna get it. Oh, okay. So, Connecticut, you got a BA,
I
bachelor's of
got a
arts.
BA. Yeah, a double major in theater and Latin American studies.
Muy
So
bien.
fluent, muy bien. Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish, and yeah, it
Yeah, I
ended up
remember that.
evolving.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And you did the travel stuff.
Yeah.
For how long was that? Was it cruise ships and stuff? Was it?
No, this was independent travel. I was traveling for myself, backpacks,
Oh,
youth
right.
hostels, the
God.
whole
Okay, I
nine.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just 2 months. It was going to be 6 months, but I got cast in this life-changing rock opera, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be my break. And it ended up being, oh my goodness, it was also with Brooke, who got her purse stolen, and it ended up being, wow, like a big, giant, dramatic train wreck. We actually had like
Oh,
a mutiny of the cast. I have never left a show in my entire career, and we had to leave collectively the show. So
no.
I cut my around the world trip short for a crazy,
For
dramatic
that.
theatrical experience. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but
And
live
that's
and
what brought
learn.
you to LA. That was meant to be in LA.
No, it started in San Francisco, and they had big plans for it, but it kind of fell flat. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to name names?
Oh, can't do that.
Who was the?
Can't do that. Well-intended folks, I'll tell you
Okay.
that.
Okay. Right.
Well-intended,
Fair
but
enough.
just
Fair enough.
didn't
What
work.
was the problem? Just the directing was terrible, or the production?
Oh,
Or
everything.
right.
Everything's terrible. And then it got like borderline abusive. We're just like, yeah, we were.
Yeah.
So I
What
was a
year?
little. John kept calling me Baby Che Guevara because I was the leader of the
The
revolution.
revolution, right?
Were
I've led a
you?
couple of revolutions and had
Have
to.
you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Eventually, and it kind of just where you have to approach the people and say, look, nobody wants to do this anymore this
Yeah.
way, and I like you as a person, and we want to, but it's not gonna. And I've taken over as like, I'll take it over and direct, and we'll
Oh,
have a
hey.
show, but you won't be directing anymore. um,
Yeah.
okay, so after the fiasco, then what did you decide? Better get down to LA and do something professional.
So the goal was to do the trip. I wanted to get my travels in before I just hunkered down and like went for the
Mm,
career. And I'm so glad I did. I mean, it informed everything about acting, about just how I move through the world, my perspective. I think in LA and certain like super industry focused communities, you can get in a bubble and you can kind of lose your perspective.
Mm.
So that really helped me. The travels were such a gift. And yeah, so I just hit the pavement at 25 and did the actor thing, very traditional, like got the little apartment, and I didn't wait tables. That was the sort of typical LA thing, but I was always in education, so I was working as a substitute and eventually as a tutor, which ended up being such a gift because I could work less hours, make more, and just be one-on-one with children. And I ended up falling in with some beautiful families from the entertainment industry that taught me a lot, like about how to not only be successful in the entertainment industry, but also how to have a family. I had this idea that you do both. I
yeah.
thought,
Mm.
oh, people that are successful, they can't all work unless they're super A-listers and whatnot. Not. So some of these folks were very high up on the ladder as
I
far as
remember now.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to name
yeah. But
names?
I know, how does this work? I mean,
Well, you can
I have
say who
nothing
it
but
was. You
great
were.
things to say about them. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
working for Sam Raimi, who was the
Right.
Spider-Man director.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, and Stuart Copeland's family, they were lovely.
Right.
From the police,
Yep.
just such good people. I mean,
Were you
it just
tutoring
blew my mind.
Spanish or in?
No,
No.
no, just general. They were small children mostly.
Yeah, I
So
remember this now. It's all coming
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was able to bring my performing arts to the table, which felt so neat. I was just pretty intuitive about it all and just knew what the kids needed, and the parents were loving it, and the kids were having a great time. So yeah, that was just pretty much my day job in LA,
Yeah.
and it allowed me to do all kinds of projects and make some wonderful contacts, not just in the industry, but just as human beings.
Okay, so you're working for Sam Raimi, and then you end up traveling with him, and you get a part on. I remember you had a small part on the Spider-Man movie, right?
Yeah, I did. I was a coffee shop waitress, but I was
Yeah.
traveling with him actually not as an actor. I was a chaperone for his children. He has
Right.
5 children. And the kids also had sort of walk-on roles
Right.
in the movie, and they always would appear in his films. And so he needed someone there to kind of coaching them and just being a point person for them because his
Coaching,
wife
like
was home with
acting
the other.
coaching and stuff a little bit
It
too?
ended up being that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like, "You're an actor, Amy. Can you jump in with, acting
Right.
stuff for them too?" I was like,
Right.
"Yep, can do it. Worked with kids. Let's go."
It's great.
And yeah, it was lovely. I got to do actually the ADR sessions with them in Hollywood and coach them for that, and it just was such a whole full experience. And the kids knew me; they were comfortable with me, so
Yeah.
it worked out great. But yeah, I actually ended up auditioning for a role in the film too. And yeah, you don't just always get the role when there's a connection. Like they actually want you to have to audition
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah,
Sam
yeah, yeah,
Raimi
yeah.
doesn't even have the power to go, I want my
I know.
nanny to
I
be
know.
to be in
My
the movie.
tutor.
Right.
Yeah, so I went in and I booked it. Woo! And it was just a small role. There's a whole meme about it now on the internet. It's a
Why is
scene with
there a meme? First of all, that
because one of the lines is a little bit suggestive. It's James Franco asking how's the pie. I asked James Franco how's the pie, and he gives me this look, because he's just been with Mary Jane and he's just all that and he's full of himself. So some DJ picked it up and they like do this whole DJ song around how's the how's the pie, how's the pie?
Oh my gosh, you got a
Yeah,
song made of you.
oh my
yeah.
God.
I'm like, it's the most random little part in a movie. Who's gonna pick that?
That's
And
one
there
way
it
to get
was.
famous.
I know.
How's the
So
pie?
yeah, it was a beautiful experience all around though. That day shooting
Yeah.
that little role on the Paramount lot. It was a sunny day. Yeah, it was LA. It's always sunny. And I was in the hair and makeup trailer and got my makeup done. The woman was super nice. And then I move on to the hair trailer and I just start talking. I'm pretty conversational, and
Yeah.
the hair artist name was Emmanuel, and we just started talking about my life at that time. I was going to be getting married to John,
Mm.
and I was going to be moving to San Francisco, and he had just bought this bar and he was in the music business, and so it was like this whole life change. But I was really paranoid to leave LA because I felt like it was career suicide. And so I
Right.
shared that with him and I said, you've been in the business a while. What do you think? And he's just like, let me tell you a story, kid. It's like, okay. And he told me that when he was a young dad, he had just started his family. He was a makeup artist in LA and was just feeling that it was not the place to raise his kids. And
Mm.
so he and his wife opted to just bring them to Atlanta where they had family. And he said, I don't care if I have to work at Walmart. I'm going to do what's right by these kids and we're going to get through it. And if the career's meant to follow, it's going to follow. And like within, I don't even know, weeks, days, I'd have to ask him again. But he got a call from Bill Murray's people because they were doing Groundhog Day in
Right.
Atlanta.
Wow.
And so he got hired on that job, and that just catapulted his career in directions that it was just not even going in LA. So he was on location
Right.
everywhere. He was
Right.
able to also do a lot from Atlanta because there was a big industry starting to boom there.
Yeah.
And yeah, he became Tom Hanks's personal hair artist, Kate
Oh,
Blanchett, I believe. Yeah. So it was just this whole
dang.
story about like universe dreams a bigger dream for you than you dream for yourself sometimes. And you just go with what feels right and you follow your heart. And if it's meant to follow you, it's going to follow you. So of course I'm like a mess. I'm blubbering and crying. This was like exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go shoot a scene right now with Tobey Maguire and James Franco. And I'm like a mess. So they're like, don't worry. He sent me back into the makeup trailer and she turned it around and I was back in action. And then like the next thing I knew, I was in a van with Sam and James and Toby and going to my scene. And I was calm and I was present. I just had this huge like catharsis in the hair and makeup trailers. And it was just like such a gift actually to come into my big scene that day, just not nervous, really present. And yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
it was really cool. So you never know. I mean, I was sharing that the hair and makeup trailer is also part of the job,
Mm.
the waiting rooms are part of the job. It's just how you show up and how you're present with people. And it's not always going to be those deep connections. And you are going to need time in your own trailer to just focus and have those boundaries for personal care and things that sometimes people will sap your energy in a trailer and you're just like,
Mm.
oh, I got to get out of
Right.
here. So
Right.
you got to just really know yourself, but some magic can happen too.
I
So
like to hang out in the makeup trailer
yeah.
if they'll let me,
Yeah.
because it's where all the kind of action and activity is, and it's where the actors and the crew can hang a little bit, and they always have such great stories. Those makeup,
Oh my gosh.
costume and makeup people, and you're like, oh my god, they'll tell you something sometimes. You're like,
Yeah.
what was it like working with such and such?
Right.
Because
Mm.
for them it's a job, and they're on the job, and they'll be 6 weeks or 6 months on a shoot somewhere with some some
Yeah.
people, and they got great stories and terrible stories, and they'll kind of confide in you and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a
Yep.
fun place to be. And the actors come in, they come out, and
It's
nobody can
true.
avoid it. So even the big stars will be there. So you will be sitting in your makeup chair, and all of a sudden, a Willem Dafoe will come sitting down next to you, and you go, "Hey, what's up, Willie?" Or
Right.
whatever.
We were sitting in his chair and his trailer had become the makeup trailer. It just gets really egalitarian all of a sudden. It's
Yeah.
there. You can't have hierarchy in the makeup trailer. Yep.
But I know that was a thing for you, and that's why I wanted to talk to you as well, because and I think audiences will want to relate to this, because knowing that you guys were family people and that you were getting married, but you had this dream of acting, and John, of course, okay, we'll see her later. Is that a battery thing? Dear God, have we ever had such a?
It's the day. You know what? This is just that day. It's all happening on the same day, which is great because it's all.
Kicked her. I kicked her out. I was. Ay, 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 ay. If she can, here she comes.
What happened is I didn't get to the Starlink and then it popped me on the other internet. So I'm back.
Ah, okay. So we're back. We're on Starlink.
We're on Starlink.
The other internet. We're gonna talk about your life in the country. I don't know where the hell you people are, but
Where
I mean,
are
it's
you?
California, isn't it? You're in
We
Northern
are
California.
in the gold country of California. Yep, about
So,
2.5 hours east of San Francisco, and it's gorgeous here. It's like a little mini rising Carmel Tahoe without all the
oh,
congestion.
oh
And there's
gosh.
no
Okay.
traffic, and there are lakes and trees. They're the biggest trees in Northern
In the
America, I
world,
think.
probably, with the
Yeah, the
redwoods.
Calaveras big trees.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a beautiful place to raise a family, and in theory, with COVID putting everything remote, it worked out great for us. But I have to
Right.
say, I really miss the energy of living in a city as far as the industry
Mm,
goes, because it's where all the connections happen. And
Yeah.
unless you're online all the time, being a whole online personality, which I'm not really into right now. I mean, I'm raising kids, and I'll come on for my voiceover stuff, but I mean, I
Yeah.
got to hand it to you, Todd. You've done so much with your online stuff. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I'm just much more in the thick of it here as far as just being in the field, literally.
Yeah.
really.
um, yeah, I mean, I do notice when I go back for jobs, when I go back for functions, like things happen because there's that synergy and the synergy of seeing
Mm,
people in person.
sure.
And if you're in a city, you're making those connections often. On the street, things can happen.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes. For now, we're happy here, but I have noticed that for sure.
Well, that's something that I want to talk about, because before we got cut off, I was sort of saying, you and John were. I know you're both family people, and I know that you had your aspirations of acting, and you're talented, and you knew especially at the time. This is all sort of even pre-internet for most of us. These are early days. There was only really a couple places in America to be, New York or L.A. So it was sort of a bold move for you to get up to San Francisco. And I remember you trying to make it work, going down to LA a bunch, doing the back and forth thing. What is it, about 45-minute flight?
It's about an
Um,
hour and change, or a
right. Okay.
6 hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, largely because of that experience of on the set of Spider-Man 3, I didn't look back too much, Todd. Like a couple things called me back, but I have to say my career blew up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like that, I did not expect that. I signed with a phenomenal agency before I even left. They became like family. I did not know agents could be like family, and they were so wonderful to this day. One of my best friends is now the new owner of the agency, and yeah, I
Wow.
just can't speak highly enough about them. JE Talent in San Francisco.
Mm.
And they had me, they threw me into voiceover when I was still in LA. I signed before I moved up. I had met with them and said, look, I'm coming to get married and start a family up here. And they're like, great, careers are long. And I was like, what? Like, usually in LA,
Nice.
you hear, oh, you're going to become a mother. Well, see you later. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
they
Yeah.
were intrigued and they're like, we're family people. Let's do this, and they became family. And then they would send me out as I was pregnant for maternity commercials and
Nice.
anything that was calling for someone with kids. And just being a parent actually helped diversify my career there a lot.
Right.
And the voiceover role was such a fantastic gift because in LA at that time, it was like, oh, it's a very small group of people and it's hard to break into in voiceover. And don't try unless you want that to be your only thing. And in San Francisco, they're like, no, you can do it all. And you're a musician. You're going to be a natural fit for voiceover. And it really was like, I started booking as soon as I moved back to San Francisco. And again, in person, because we had a booth at the agency. So once I was reading stuff in person and getting coached in person there at the agency, I just started booking.
They were coaching you, and you had and had a little studio space for you.
It was amazing. And that's where we, again, like where the job is not just on the job. It's like we'd all connect with all these actors in the waiting room. And so all these friendships and networking opportunities were formed from those sessions. But yeah, I mean, I got to do, and then TV shows would come through San Francisco and films. And it was just like, I was doing stuff. I got to be on an NBC pilot there and shoot in a helicopter. And we shut down the whole on-ramp of 6th Street exit in San Francisco. It was just like, it felt like this guy Manny said, the career followed me.
Right.
And I got to do radio plays and tons of voiceover, which was really helping pay the bills. You know, that when you get in the unions and you can get those residuals, I might have worked an hour on an Invisalign spot, and I then would become the voice of Invisalign, and then just like mailbox money would just start. When we first moved to the country, I was like pulling in full salaries off of my old voiceover jobs.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. And I wasn't working. Like I was doing the kid thing and I was auditioning here and there, but it was like, that's what the unions can do. So I'm a big fan of joining the actors unions when you can.
Yeah.
Because that's where the longevity comes. That's where the residuals come, and even the pensions and health plans and all of that. I mean, I'm so grateful to the Screen Actors Guild. Both of my births of my kids were covered. I mean, it's just, it's phenomenal. And the market has gone so far away from that now, sadly, because everyone's doing voiceover, everyone's producing stuff on their own. But the union's trying to adapt with that. And they're really trying to make these producer-friendly contracts, like I was mentioning to you, Todd. Like they want to make it work for producers. They want to make it work for low-budget folks. They just want to be on the radar and not have people triangulate and go off and do non-union. So I'm always giving a plug for for the union, at least in the States. I don't know how it is in the UK. But it's what allows actors to have longevity to their careers, that they can actually fall back on things like their pension, like their health. And it looks out for you. You know, you've always got an advocate there from the union that's going to make sure that you're being treated right. And same thing with agents. So I've gone the old school way of dealing with those big entities, and and my agency wasn't a big entity, but they always had my back. Like I said, they became like family. So that's been what's allowed me to have, I think, a career this long. And to frame it that way, that you don't like dry up at a certain age. Like I just hated that in LA, that feeling that I don't think is the case anymore. I think people are proving themselves, you know, well into their 80s, 90s, whatever it is. But yeah, I like I said, 25 felt a little bit old at the time. And then when I moved to LA to San Francisco at 30, that's when things started taking off. For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Because, well, first of all, Jay, do you know that term, mailbox money?
No, I'm just going with the flow. No, it's residuals, right? Like, because it used to be back in the old dinosaur day, you would receive the check in the mailbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aimee. I was making fun of Todd. You have such lovely vibes. Your energy is younger than me, I swear.
Great.
Really it is.
But for me,
way to compliment me and slam Todd in the same sentence.
Thank you so much. That is the goal.
Well, I think, Aimee, this is the good point with you too, was that you kind of had if I may say, you had a sort of a Meg Ryan-esque quality about you at the time, right?
I got that a lot, yeah.
You got that a lot, yeah. I got Kevin Bacon and Leo DiCaprio and those kind of things.
Yes.
Because they were always trying to pigeonhole you, and I guess they still do to some degree. But I think if you're 25 and you're in LA and you have that kind of look and quality about you, that they're trying to fit you into whatever peg they got. Like,
I think that was part of the problem. I think they couldn't pigeonhole me. Because once I opened my mouth, and I was told this a lot by people, that once I opened my mouth and they heard how either mature or educated, or I don't know what it was, I didn't translate as an ingenue anymore. Savvy, yeah.
You weren't the ditzy little blonde. For those of you that can't see Aimee right now, she's a cute little blonde. and and the look doesn't match the savvy attitude.
Yeah, I mean, they just the nuance. It was too much. At 25, I had traveled the world, and
Yeah.
I'd been to university, and I'd worked with people from all over the world, even in college, and it was just, yeah, it didn't. I couldn't find my niche in LA, and so I think by the time I got to San Francisco, I had matured a bit, and I just started booking like crazy. So I
Yeah.
just say to people out there, like, have hope. You might not have hit your stride in your 20s. People think, oh, if I haven't made it,
Right.
I heard in your trailer in 5 years. I literally said that. And I had friends that were like, we're going to LA for 5 years. And I have one friend who's still there rocking it. And she didn't get her goal, but she told me literally 5 years, I'm going to stay here. And Lynn Chen, she's still doing great things. And she was a Wesleyan alum with me. So I just want to encourage people that, like, what my agent said to me when they signed me on and became my family was that your career is like a lifetime. It's long. It changes with you, just stay with it, and you'll find different genres of your life that you work in different fields and different ways. And um it was so great just being around people that have had careers for their whole lives, and how they share the different eras. Like, oh, when I was raising my kids, I made all my money in commercials. When I was in my 20s, I did all theater. When I was in my 30s and 40s, I moved into film, so
Mm.
it's different
Yeah.
for everyone, but don't think you've got to hit it and like they're a failure because you haven't hit it.
You're right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I said it before. I'll say it again. The marathon and not the sprint.
absolutely.
And for me, like I always say, like I used to play privates, and then I started playing sergeants, and now I'm moving into captains, and
It's awesome.
I just keep going up the ranks. And
So scalable, Todd.
and then when I'm older, it'll be
So
General
scalable.
Kramer. Because I just
awesome.
I played a ton of soldiers, but
Then you'll be like veteran, like the grizzled.
then I'll be
war
the old
veteran.
war veteran with missing a leg or whatever. Yeah. So you just keep going up, or in it, you go from the copy boy to the junior partner to the
Right.
executive to the
Right.
boss or the CEO, and it just in terms of the roles you play.
I kind of went backwards with that because my biggest role on TV was CSI, and I was a corpse. I mean, I wasn't just a corpse.
Oh, that's a good role.
I got to
I
become
wasn't
a corpse.
just a corpse. Okay.
Wait, did you
To
die?
become a corpse. I so died. It was so brutal. It was so brutal. I was like shot down a staircase and like dripping blood.
Oh.
And they always had me as these young moms whose kids died. And in this case, I accidentally killed my child. It
my
was so bad.
grim.
Yeah, I was trying to do CPR on her and I broke her rib, and there she was.
Oh my god!
And then the dad goes crazy and he shoots me because, I killed our child.
That's a
And then,
television show?
oh,
On,
that's CSI, baby.
on
People eating
CBS?
that
Is
stuff
that a
up.
CBS? I don't watch this stuff.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh, it became all these different CSI Miami, CSI
Yeah,
Las
I know
Vegas.
that. Yeah. Every city
Yeah,
had
That
a
is so
so
brutal.
city
My God.
CSI
it was brutal.
anchor.
And actually, I had to talk about, like, you hear people, how do you come back when you've been in such a brutal thing? I was out of my body for a good 2 weeks after that shoot because they were firing blanks at me, and
Really?
I felt a little piece of shrapnel hit me. Like, there just is something that happens, particularly if you're like empathic like me and you just feel all the things, like it comes into you no matter
I
what,
get it. Yeah, totally.
And so I had to like go to this healer lady and get myself put back in my body in LA. And like I would always ask, seasoned actors, like, how do you protect yourself? How do you seal off and just let it be a craft? And like, but when I'm in it, getting shot, hanging upside down dead, like it just affected me. So I kind of had a rule I wouldn't do horror movies. And then Sam Raimi asked me to do his Drag Me to Hell movie. And I was like, I'm so honored, but I don't think I can hang, Sam, because I'm not a horror person. And so he's like, oh, no, there's some roles that just aren't horror. So I played a sales person in a shop with Alison Lohman, and I got to sell her coat,
No
which
blood, no
is
gore.
going to save her from the demons of hell.
Oh, good. That's
and she
nice.
still got
nice.
dragged down anyway, but
But that's on her.
Womp womp.
That's her.
that's on her.
I think I've been killed in nearly everything I've done. I've been shot many times,
bless.
stabbed, eaten by pterodactyl babies, turned into a fur ball, hanged next to a hog. Yeah.
How do you seal off, Todd? How do you come back?
I don't know. I've got PTSD from the whole experience.
It's the thing, right?
I think at first I thought it was fun and cool, like, wow, this is great. And and I'm gonna get all into it and
Right.
gurgle blood and stuff. But then there
Right.
was a few where they're just splashing blood around, and it's grim. And yeah, eventually I just go, I'm not sure that that's even acting anymore.
Yeah.
The stuff I did before was acting, but the dying part is like, okay.
Yeah.
And it gets grim. It gets grim. I don't know.
Yeah.
There must be some therapist out there that's...
Yes. Yes. Or some tactics of folks that are doing that dark stuff and like what they do to seal off. And I mean, I've heard people do like centering rituals and meditation and all this stuff to kind of get themselves in a neutral place where they can then just kind of
Right.
let it slough off them. But yeah, I was too naive and I was just like in it, getting shot.
Yeah.
yeah.
I always, I mean, when you're laying on your back and there's a guy with like pterodactyl on like puppets on his hand and he's eating rubber guts on a pool of blood off your belly, you kind of, I mean, I always go for the lighter side. Yeah, I go for the lighter side of those moments and just kind of laugh. And I'm a comedian by heart and a comedic actor at heart. So even that stuff, I'm just like, this is funny. But later you kind of go, geez, I got pictures of myself just like a mess,
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about your time in theater.
All right. Well, I told you at the beginning, I was 8 years old and I just kept cranking away like a show or two a year, sometimes 3 shows a year. It started with a love of singing. So I always had musicals going and was working on that. And then eventually got more serious about straight plays in high school, majored in college. I told you Latin American Studies was my other major. So I translated a play and I did it was like hybrid Spanish-English play for my senior project. Went on to do some theater after college, but I was really interested in film and television at that point. So ironically, I did, after some years in San Francisco, start a theater company there, but I was more on the administrative end, making it happen. It was Fog Theater Company, and it was focused on Golden Gate, and it was stories about the Bay Area and its culture and peoples and history. And I headed up the youth department of that. So that was a dream of mine, to run a children's theater company, and I got to do that.
Yeah.
And I had a phenomenal team there, and we created some awesome magic. We had our first show for the adults was The Cable Car Nymphomaniac, and it was about a true story. True story.
Right.
For children?
No.
No, this is the adult side of the company.
It did get a bit.
Got it.
It got lost in there somewhere. Wait. So we did a play for the children.
We did a play. It was
Cable Car Nymphomaniac.
We had to really specify that, like, these are two different companies, because the parents in my company would be like, what? But seriously, only in San Francisco, this woman was on a cable car. It had a crash. She bumped and hit her head and claimed that it made her a nymphomaniac.
Oh.
And then she sued the city of San Francisco. And only in San Francisco, she won.
She won.
She won damages.
I wonder if that's why I have my problems. Similar. Anyway. How does that make you a nymphomaniac? Well, there's quite.
How did she win?
Hopefully, there's the answers are in the play.
That it actually altered her brain, the accident.
Yeah, it's possible. Concussion.
And it changed her brain chemistry, and she became a nymphomaniac, and it ruined her life. And and she sued the city, and she won.
Okay.
So
I thought
of course we had to write a musical about it.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to.
I thought it was going to be about the nymphomania went on in the cable car. I had this picture like, she took the cable car every day to work, and each time there and back.
Yep.
She took someone else for a ride.
That's why we picked that title. There's
but I guess that's it, wasn't it?
All kinds of
the beauty of theater. You can explore all the stories of life.
Wow.
So that was a blast. It was an awesome team. We were collaborating with a lot of people from New York, because that's where our co-founders had gone to school in New York, and it was rich. It was getting to build something from the ground up, and then I was getting to work with the youth, which I had always wanted to do. And then eventually we all moved and went our separate ways. Our original co-founder is still there, but we've moved on, and it was just a beautiful experience.
You produced a lot of plays, haven't you? And directed.
Yeah. In LA, I started producing. I was really into like that benefit production where it would like benefit City of Hope or benefit something else. But it was really great to be able to produce my own work, because then I could cast the people I wanted, and
Yeah.
I could choose the material and play the
Yeah.
roles I wanted. I was tired of just showing up for everybody's idea of who I was as an actor, and producing really helped
Yeah.
me to take the wheel a bit and say, no, these are the roles I want to play. And it was a phenomenal experience. You know, probably the most stressful part of my career has been producing.
Mm.
Acting is you show up, you're part of something that other people are handling. You just do your stuff, you stay in your lane. But as a producer, you're responsible, as you know, for the whole thing. And yeah, I remember losing my eyelashes on my first producing gig because I wasn't sleeping and I was so stressed. I was like,
God.
where are my eyelashes going?
Wow. I didn't know that could happen.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
a
I
sign of
didn't either.
stress.
I didn't either.
Were you pulling on them, or were they just falling
No,
out?
I was so stressed they were falling out.
God.
Yeah, they came back. They came back. But just to all you, beginning producers out there, it's going
Yeah.
to be okay.
Yeah.
Find yourself a mentor. That is like huge
Right.
in acting and producing. Find
Yes.
yourself a mentor that can say, it's going to be okay, kid.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one time when I was your age.
Right.
And it makes a difference. You realize life is long, careers are long. This
Yeah.
too shall pass.
Yeah.
Like, get yourself
Mm.
surrounded by good people that support you,
Yes.
and listen to those mentors. Find the right ones, not the jaded ones.
Right.
Um,
Like me.
yeah, I love mentoring. That's something that's just come to me, and I just do it all the time. I can't help it. I'm like, oh, you want a mentor? And then they're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
That's
you
the
know so
whole.
much.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
what
just live a
offstage
while.
acting is for me. Is that it's just mentoring, really. Helping
Yeah.
young actors figure out what's going on, actually. But
Yep.
I wonder for you if that kind of. I mean, you always had that sensibility about you, and that's what I appreciate about you immediately. Was that you were, I would say, like an actor's actor. Like, you came in and you were serious about acting and doing it. You weren't just some, there was a lot of people floating around LA who were either as a hobby or trying it, or, not really actors, but kind of beautiful people who were trying to get something going and looking for celebrity and not just, being an actor. People like John, for example, who were just, I don't know, flirting with it somehow and just John, by the way, Jay, John was like kind of the star of my senior thesis play that I put on. I cast him instead
Okay.
of kind of the lead role, two of the lead.
Is he a very good looking man? I know, Amy, you'll say yes.
I think
But
so.
He's got
I
a
think
look.
so.
Yeah.
He's looked so different through the phases of his life. We always
He
joke,
doesn't have
like,
any hair now, part
he
of it. But
shaves his head
he
now.
had long curly hair, and it was 70s. I had him in a cool handlebar mustache and all this stuff.
We have that picture on our baby grand piano, Todd. I
Which
pulled
one?
it out. The picture of him in Mad Dog Blues.
Oh, with his costume and stuff.
With his costume posing in those
Standing.
purple pants.
Yeah, with the leather vest and the yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. Yeah. Maybe we'll have John on this thing some point. I don't know what
Oh
to
my
talk to
gosh.
him about his short-lived acting career, but no, he was good. But Aimee was always the actor's actor, and what I kind of I'm gleaning a bit now as well was that you were always looking for those opportunities to explore the craft and the art form. As much as you were trying to exploit the industry to make a living, as we all were. I mean, most of us were just trying, meaning finding the agent, trying to get the good role, trying to keep the headshot. So I remember after meeting you, sort of turning to you often and having you as a friend on that journey where I was going to you regularly and saying, hey, here's my new headshots. What do you think? And check this out. And I remember remember we had the same agent briefly?
We did.
Yeah, and
We did. That was like a very hot flash of an agent.
That was a hot flash. You were like, I love my new agent. I was like, oh, really? Show me.
Yeah.
It turned out to be it
was one of those crash and burn situations, but it was, and you learn that. You sense the red flags. The older you get, the more experience you get. You're like, oh, this person is amazing, but there are some red flags. Let me just sit in the cut a little bit and wait this out.
The red flags for me were when they started pulling in so much new talent. They went from a boutique of like we handling 10 to I went into the offices and there was like 150 headshots on their wall, and I was like, oh, I see. We're just kind of open for business. We're the McDonald's of agents at this point,
And agents, bigger agents do have that and more, but it's, I mean,
they were just taking anybody and everybody.
Right. There was no discernment at that point, and it was like,
you got a headshot, great, you're on the wall, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
It was terrible. terrible. But I think
Did
for
we ever
you,
do a class together, Todd? Didn't we do a class together, or did we?
yes, or you recommended a class to me,
Todd? Did we take Todd's class? No.
Todd. I'm
Todd
Todd.
Todoroff? No.
Oh,
No, I
Todd
know.
Todoroff. I forget what that was. I think you would
Todd
recommend,
Todoroff?
or did we
That's
do
a
it
Do you
together?
fake name.
know this name?
No.
No, that's a
How
fake
could you
name.
forget?
That's a
I
real
think if
name.
you've
No,
heard
it's
it,
a real
Todoroff?
name.
that's a real
It's a
name.
real name.
I guess if your last name's Todoroff, then you have to be called Todd.
He's
Or
getting all kinds of plugs right now.
wow, who knows? No, I do remember you recommending one to me. No, you were kind of, you had all the insight as well. That was the other thing that was great, because it was like I could go to Aimee, Aimee, what's going on with this and that? What do we do?
That's so funny. I didn't see it that way. It's just who comes to town when is kind of how it works in LA. And if people have
Yeah.
a generous spirit, you just share with each other, you mentor each other.
Yeah.
That is one thing I noticed about the culture of San Francisco versus the culture of Los Angeles is Los Angeles was really competitive. And
Yeah.
it was that scarcity thing, like, this is my job, you're going to take my job. Whereas
Right.
in San Francisco, it was just like, let's support each other. Let's make more work for each other. You know, rising tide lifts all boats. Let's do this. I
Yeah.
loved that. I thrived in that
Yes.
environment. Whereas in LA, having to prove myself all the time just really, I think, took away from my bottom line. I think I was more insecure with that
Right.
kind of a culture. So I don't know how it is in London, but I think it's all about actors and creatives uplifting each other, because you truly can make more work when you work that way.
Yeah.
It's not a scarcity of work. Make more, you know,
Yeah.
start producing,
Yeah.
cast your friends, you know.
Prague was like that for me, actually. I had escaped
Mm,
and I did something similar. It was just, I wanted to get out and try something new and do some things. And then it just, my career followed me. I thought I was not going to do any acting. I go to Europe. I was giving it up. I was getting a master's in writing, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, they're shooting something. And then there was I got a role, and then I got on a commercial, and it just became really easy. And there was a little community of us there, and there was a lot of work and people going, hey, I got this casting, but I'm not right for it, but you're perfect. That kind
right.
of stuff, and it was
Awesome.
really helpful. We didn't make a ton of money. We didn't have a union or anything like that, but we certainly made a living, and we had a great time doing it. And it was kind of everything you
Awesome.
would hope it would be. Yeah. In terms of community and having a quality of life, and also being able to do the thing that you love.
Yeah.
And that's something I hope for everybody, no matter where they are, to be able to access. And I think, like you said, just if it's not happening, make it happen. There's nothing
Yeah.
precluding you, stopping you from
Right.
producing stuff.
And if you're not a writer, and if you know, find writers, find
Right.
people whose work you admire, and collaborate. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all about collaboration instead of competition. It's just, it works
Yeah.
so much better. Yeah.
I was going to say also, I think you probably got over some of that, the typecasting stuff. Do you think that the voice work helped you?
Tremendously.
Right.
That was the biggest surprise and joy of voiceover, was that you can play anyone, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then all the accents and my languages, like I audition regularly for Spanish voiceover spots, you know, and it doesn't matter what I look like, and
Right.
age, gender. It's just so great. I just love being
Yeah.
able to be anonymous and just bring the craft and not have this
Yeah.
detract
Yeah.
or add
Yeah.
in any way. Yeah.
So that in combination with the producing and doing your own stuff, putting on your own shows and things, kind of
Yeah.
was a sidestepping the industry.
Yeah, it's funny. You think it's going to be linear, and you've probably heard this all the time on the show. You think it's going to be like, you know, check these boxes, do these things, and you'll have this modicum of success. But it's not linear. It's this like wild path that goes this way and that way. And I mean, you get so you can tune to your instrument, just like actors do, where you can feel those signs from the universe. Oh, okay, this is one I got to follow. I'm getting that feeling. It might seem a little out of left field, but you know, go with it. Voiceover felt that way for me. Like, really? And ended up
Right.
being the total cash cow for me. And then like producing, it was like, I didn't know if I could do it. My eyelashes fell out. but
Yeah.
but then it just like that led to one opportunity to the next, and then it starts circling back and leading to casting opportunities. Sorry for the shaky.
Right.
You start getting cast in other stuff because people see you on the scene, and work begets more
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
right.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a show reel? Was that?
Question.
Yeah.
I would have to say, and I wanted this to be a learning experience
Yeah.
for all of our
That's what I
young
thought.
actors out there. the judging side of me says it's laziness. The
Yes.
sensitive, psychoanalyzing side of me says that it's fear. Like, I think this is a big thing, is a fear of success.
Yes.
And I think it comes down to deep stories underneath. Like, what happens if I really blow up and hit it? Like, really hit it? Like, will I still be able to have my privacy, my life, my family? And I wonder if, like, there's not a part of me that sabotages myself because I don't really want to reach my full potential.
Yes.
So I'm really being vulnerable and revealing that I do not
Okay.
have a show reel. I do not have a voiceover reel. I also kind of have enjoyed people doing things for me, and that comes down to my psychology too. Like, my agents do so much for me.
Right.
My producers, my sound. When I work on an audiobook, I had this amazing producer that could help me get my whole booth set up. Like, I like people helping me too, so that's something I need to look at
Totally.
too.
No, totally.
You know, and I've reached great heights because of all the people that have helped me. So I'm so grateful to all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is good for me saying this in this public setting to
Yeah.
have to say, you know, maybe that's why. I'm not sure, but it is a goal of mine, and I've gotten so much work without that stuff. So that's just to
Yeah.
say that there's not only one way to go. I mean, I also don't do social media. And I just produced this beautiful opera and Broadway concert for myself. And I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do the socials. And everyone's like, you need the socials. You're not going to sell out. And I just did it by text and word of mouth and my dinosaur self. And I filled the house almost, you know? So it's like, I don't know what to say to that. I just like, there's more than one way to do things. Yeah.
I think that, okay, may I?
You may. You're going to analyze me. Go for
I'm
it,
going to
Todd.
analyze the thing. Now, first thing I'll say is I concur. I also have something of a fear of, you and I both have celebrity friends. We know people who are celebrity A-listers and the works, and it's a totally different life.
Yes.
Not that they can't have a quality of life. They don't have it. Of course, they have money and they've got other things going for them, but privacy that's gone. And if you value that, it's difficult to be an actor who's out there on stage or in spotlight on screen and maintain privacy, particularly when you get into the realm of being, recognizable.
Yeah.
So I also value a lot of what you're saying. And I also understand sort of we are of an era. We're not elderly folk, but we are from the 90s, pre-internet. We're pre-internet
I believe the
actors.
word dinosaur was thrown out there a couple times. Yeah.
I said not. That was the pterodactyl.
That was my
That was
fault.
the dinosaur that ate me.
It's all good.
I call us, pre-internet actors. So, the pager, the lithographic prints, remember the payphones, right. Jay's heard all the stories. He's so bored.
Yeah, not helping your case.
No.
Continue.
So we're not used to, but that's why we're not used to the socials. We're not used to that end of it, right? Internet profile and stuff. Now I've worked hard to just I've got a website and I've got the socials all in place. I don't really use them too much, but it's kind of there if I need it and stuff. I'm not comfortable putting a bunch of stuff about myself online. I see also you're not even like on IMDb Pro, which means you haven't paid a little $100 to get a photo of yourself up there.
It's a thing.
But here's the deal. What I would say is if you don't do all that stuff, because there are, as you were saying, there's many rivers, many streams run into the river, okay?
Yeah.
Feed the river. Now, a couple of those can be dry, but the compensation that you've done, which I think is great, and this is something I kind of also talk to young actors about, aspiring actors about, is if community is a critical thing, having people around you and the right people, a support network and stuff. And it sounds like you have absolutely managed that with the right representation. You've got a supportive family, friends, all along the way.
Fellow artists,
artists.
So important to be surrounding yourself
colleagues.
with artists. Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So now, had you done social as well and all the other stuff that goes with it, maybe you would have by now, and maybe you could still blow up bigger than you have. But if you're comfortable with it and you have everything you want and you're satisfied with your career, then I don't see a reason. But if you hadn't done the community building and surrounded yourself with good people and built those relationships and had good representation, stuff like that, and not done any other stuff either, I mean, where do you think you'd be? I would say
I see a lot of
struggling.
people. I see a lot of people that stay in LA and become bitter and
Yeah.
jaded, and I
Struggling,
didn't want that.
bitter,
I
and
didn't want
jaded.
that. That was part of my big emotional conversation on the makeup
Mm.
trailer, hair trailer, Spider-Man
Mhm.
3 was like, I did not want to just become jaded in LA, and LA was turning black and white for me. In San
Mm.
Francisco, my next opportunity was presenting in Technicolor.
Mhm.
That's how it felt. Like, and you want to go
Right.
toward that Technicolor. And when a place or a relationship or a job starts to turn black and white and you're just not growing in there anymore, it's time to move. And you'll be given the signs of what's the next move. If you listen and you tune into yourself and you surround yourself with the right people, those opportunities will come.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to have a quality of life, and you were prepared to even sacrifice your career to have that, right? And do
I
it.
would say, and I still think there's, I mean, got a few more decades to go, and there's time to really look at that and be like, does it need to be one or the other? My kids are getting older. Is it, what's the next shift for me? I'm getting talked to a lot about becoming a coach and a
Mm.
mentor.
Mm.
Just a lot of like, what you're doing, Todd, and it speaks to me. But I would have to level up all of the tech.
Yeah.
Because that's how people do life now, So
Right.
I have some really great people that are willing to do that for me. They're like, we want you to do this. We will help you do this. But it would be a pivot. And it wouldn't be that I wouldn't be acting. It in fact could lead to more acting work, as I'm sure
Right.
you've put yourself out there, Todd, and work begets work. So yeah, I think I wouldn't say I'm satisfied. Like, I'm like, yeah, I've hit it. I'm done. This is great. But I have had so many wonderful opportunities and worked with so many great people that I feel I've had a rich, full career. And I'm just curious where it's going to go from here and how I can best support myself in that and reach the most people and maintain, like you say, the privacy, the lifestyle. So there are certain sacrifices that you have to make depending on your values,
Is there something that's niggling in the back of Amy's mind that she's wants a little thing she'd like to conquer?
Well,
Something
I think the singing was a big thing because when you
Right.
have an instrument, Jay, as you know, that creates these sounds, to
Right.
get to, like, I had the Rolls Royce parked in the driveway. One of my dear mentors, Diane Venora, who is the most phenomenal actor. I don't know if you even know her, Todd. She's one of those ones that's fully under the radar, but she was in Heat with Al Pacino. She played Macbeth, the female Macbeth on Broadway.
Oh, cool.
She was in oh my goodness, so many films.
Right.
And she's just such an incredible human being. And she would always say to me, Amy, you've got the Rolls Royce parked in the driveway. When are you going to take it for a spin?
Right. Right.
And
Mm.
that's
Great way to put
how
it.
it's felt with the niggling, you say, Todd.
Yeah.
The singing, I needed to. I haven't been an opera singer. I haven't done the opera circuit.
Right.
I did get to go to Austria and study opera and be like, wow, this is a world I don't want to be in full time. I got that memo. But it's
Mm.
my instrument. I wanted to take it for a spin. And so I feel like I've found this phenomenal voice teacher, Carrie Hennessy. She's out of Sacramento. She works on Zoom brilliantly. I don't know too many voice teachers that can work brilliantly on Zoom, and she does. And she's just allowed me to come into my full voice and just to feel that Rolls Royce go for a fun drive.
Mm.
So as far as final need, I mean, there's of course things I want to do. I want to do more audiobooks. That's really fun for me. I'd like to do more live theater again. We've got some really sweet little venues here. And yeah, continue with the singing. And I'm not sure with film and television, it's so much time, and you got to be kind of in it and decide if you want to be on sets for that amount of your time. And at this point in my life,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It might be that choice role that comes through and I'm on set for a few days or a couple of weeks, and that feels right. But I'm just curious what the universe is going to throw my way, and I'm going to just keep showing up for those opportunities. Yeah.
What's the great? That's awesome. I love that. What's the balance for you, mom, wife, and mom?
Self-care,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
it's just got to be priority, whether it's 10 minutes on a yoga nidra. I say yoga nidra, the sleeping yoga. That's like my drug of choice. I'm like, oh, I got
Nice.
10. I'm gonna
The
pass out
lazy
with my
man's
headphones in.
yoga. Nice.
You can do that's a great tip for sets. You can do that. I didn't have the whole YouTube Yoga
Oh, yeah.
Nidra land. In your trailer, you got 10, 15, just like get those
Mm.
alpha waves going in your brain and you'll be fresh as daisy after that.
Right.
I would say self-care and then just really showing up for more opportunity. Like this was great. Like you asked me and I'm just like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And not saying like, no, what do I have to offer? Because those kind of you go with the yes,
Right.
Um so I
But in
forgot the
terms of, I know
question.
John's a busy boy. You're
Yeah,
clearly busy, and you got the two kids. How old's the boy again? Your youngest?
8. He's
8.
8.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
and your oldest about 15 now, right?
Yeah, 14
Uh,
and change.
14. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to mine. I've got 8 and 12.
Okay.
And God, do you remember when I brought I think she was about 3, and I brought her to San Francisco, and they were running around. I got videos of those two running around. Yours was 6, mine was 3, and they were just like dancing and running through the hallways. And it doesn't
So
seem that
great.
long ago.
No.
But anyway, that's old folks talk. But I get that balance, when a casting comes up and John's out of town and you got to
Yeah.
take the and so I mean, are you
Yep.
finding, what advice do you have for young people or people that see themselves being in a family but still want to have this career?
I would say use your support networks and use them often
Mm.
and be generous with your support of others so
Mm.
that you've got those systems in place when the big jobs come, that you're not like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my
Yeah.
kids? You've
Yeah.
already got multiple channels. Now, we don't live near family. Family is so helpful for so many people.
Right.
But we've had to really, like you say, community build, and we lean on each other for everything. We have carpool multivariable calculus spreadsheets of how many kids, how many seats, how many booster seats, how many family, so it takes a lot of organization behind the scenes. So much of what I do on the back end is logistics and scheduling
Right.
and just
Yeah.
trying to
Okay.
create those systems that when big things do come, we have a plan.
That's great. Community.
And it's never perfect. Like things fall through, I have a meeting today and I had a play date all set up and that didn't quite work out. So now my kid's going to come with me to the meeting and entertain himself.
All
Yep.
right. Yeah. Thank God for the iPad. It's got me through a few tough spots. The kids in my voiceover session in London, I'm like, well, these are my daughters. I hope they can sit in the lobby. They got coloring books, and Daddy's gonna be about 45 minutes. And people are usually okay with that stuff, but it does help to have well-behaved kids too.
That helps for sure.
I like that community building and organization. Yeah. Are you still into the health? You're kind of a health nut, I remember. And I remember kind of having these debates with you when I saw you, I don't know. I guess I was there. We were there about 9 years ago. There weren't debates, but I'm all health now, and I'm all on board. In fact, I kind of owe you an apology because I was like, I remember, I don't know. I remember disagreeing with you about something. I was like, no, you can't do that. And then realizing later, like learning later, I was like, oh, Aimee was right. She knew all that stuff. Avocado oil and high quality eggs and probiotics and stuff like that.
I love it. That's so funny. Once you get the bug, that you just feel how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
And makes you look, and you start looking at your peers that are still partying and everything, and they age differently, and they feel differently. And mental health is so key, and sleep is so key. And I'm a big believer in functional medicine and diet and exercise. And our big thing now is trying to get more plants in, just more plants.
Right.
Anytime, anyway.
Yeah.
And yoga and exercise. And after a certain age, you need to really up your exercise. John's always been getting on me about that. So now I've got my routines and
good.
Yeah, but it keeps you grounded, the health stuff. I feel like, ultimately we're here to live and feel good. And if you're not feeling good and you're cutting your life short, like what's the point,
Right. Yeah, that's 100% there. Yeah, exactly.
And for an actor, your lifestyle can be really unhealthy. The trailer life, being on sets, shooting scenes at 3 in the morning can be really unhealthy. So you need, you need to have all of your
craft services.
Yes.
the pile
People
of
bring,
donuts.
we bring our own food places. We bring our supplements, vegetable powders,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this, everything.
Like crazy
Water.
people.
I even travel with my water filter.
Oh, good. Me too. I do
Dude,
too. Yeah, of course. I'm not going to drink that
like,
crap water wherever
I
I go.
know,
Yeah,
I know.
I got my
So,
pH balanced water.
yeah, baby.
I
Oh,
gotta
we got to
have
talk.
it. We do have to talk. This is a whole separate. I'm going to put you on my other podcast. Yeah, I do have a nutritional project that
You
I'm working on with my girlfriend.
do?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We're going
fantastic.
to launch a little thing. She's getting her certification in health coaching.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we
I have
That
some
is
friends that have gone
cool.
that route.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. And in my 20s, I was like, I mean, I
yeah,
just
of
didn't see the
course.
point. I was doing other things, and health is naturally on your side. But
Yeah,
when you
we
can
all
make
looked great.
wellness a part of your whole program, then everything just works better,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and you keep it rocking. Woo, Amy, what a pleasure.
This was so fun.
It was
Thank
fun.
you
Thank you.
both so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
And Jay, I want to hear more from you, but I know we're out of time, and my kid
This
is
you've heard
being
it.
podcast is
super
about you,
patient.
baby.
Yeah.
I learned
Well,
this has been really great. Thank
I'm
you
gonna
for
be
yeah.
following your stuff now. I'm maybe not on the socials, but I'm gonna get on your website.
I'm gonna follow you. Oh wait, you don't
You
have
can't
socials.
be
Dang
she
I
it.
can't be
have
followed. That's the
nothing.
problem.
You
Look
I'll
at
can't
this.
find
follow
you.
me.
You can't follow me.
After
Curses.
this, we're trying to get guests on this show, by the way, that have massive followings so that we get listeners. And I keep booking all
Yes.
these guys that are like, I don't know. I don't know.
No.
I don't
No.
have any. And you go, ugh.
I have some thoughts for you. I have some ideas of people I can send your way. Is it only actors, or can it also be producers, directors, etc.?
Yeah, I'm interested in anybody in the entertainment industry first and foremost, and
Okay.
particularly if they have some kind of acting background and maybe they've made an adjustment at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, I would like we haven't done it yet, but casting directors, directors, ADs. I got some friends that I'd like to talk first to ADs and stuff, just to get some perspective on what they see. I mean, from in the people that work with actors.
Right.
Let's say hair and makeup would be great. Yeah, stuff like that too.
Cool.
So yeah, throw me some bones. What are you doing?
Totally.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time.
you both
Early
so
morning
much.
there in the Bay Area for you, or
We're
Northern
the
California.
gold country.
The
Yep.
gold
Yep.
country. I love it. Yeah, I'm envious. So
Well, you got to come out this way, Todd. We'd love to have you and your family.
yeah, we will. We'll do it again. We need to do another trip, and you guys are always invited to come to
Thank
merry
you.
old England.
Thank
Wouldn't that
you.
be fun?
Yeah, we got a few of you over there now, so we're getting more and more reasons to get our
You got
butts
more?
out there.
Okay, yeah. So come
Yep.
on down.
Yeah.
We do it right. Yeah, come in summer, which is between August 16th and August 28th, and you'll get the good weather.
Right when our
Otherwise,
daughter starts high school, but
just
yeah.
avoid. Oh, she's going to high school. Jeez, wow. God, don't tell me that. I feel old as dirt. I'm gonna send you the video of those two running around going, yeah.
Aw.
What was the what does the fox say? Chunk, 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 chunk. Remember that?
That's right.
And Johnny
Yes.
was like, "Hey, did you hear this song?" No, and we played that, and they were just like, "What does the fox say?" Ching, 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 ching.
Oh my gosh, Todd.
Yeah.
I don't how this guy's memory is insane.
It is insane. I mean,
It's the
and
nutrition.
the stuff that you have
It's the
in your
nutrition.
your
in my archives. Oh, you've seen nothing. I didn't want
That
to
is
play
your
some of it
personality.
because it's like you, me, and Joel, and like a couple other, and friends barbecuing, and it's
How
like,
often do you
What?
revisit this stuff?
no, I was
Do you
looking. I
just
knew I had this video of her reading, but it's mixed with on a, because the video camera goes on and off and on and off, so it's like a whole trip. But there was parties. I got a bunch of old,
were you like an
crazy old clips.
archivist in your past life?
I
Like
think
Yeah, I have it
so.
all on. I have it all on my. Yeah, maybe I was. Yeah. I love it.
We just were at Joel's wedding, Todd, this past weekend.
Was it? I saw that he finally tied the knot, even though
Finally tied the knot.
yeah.
Second marriage, but has a sweet boy
he's
now,
got a good boy.
5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his partner's awesome, solid.
I love
Yeah,
Joel.
so it was a big reunion.
Has he
of
been
the-
listening to the cast? I hope so.
I don't know.
Maybe he
Actually,
will
you
now.
should have Joel on.
I should
Will
have him on.
now.
He's a cameraman and
Have
stuff.
Joel. No, he does everything, and
He's
he's got
Tons
have
of
Joel
stories,
on.
doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's got a ton of stories. I love Joel.
Yeah.
I got stories
Aw.
with him too. It's nice
you
to
guys
reconnect.
would blow it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, my dear.
All right.
We'll,
Thank you so much. I hope you
thank
get
you.
the tech on my stuff handled and
It's been great now. So
It's
Okay.
for
been great.
apologies to audiences that the first, I don't know, 10 minutes was a little rough, but yeah, we made it happen in the end. All right, Aimee, here's your little clap.
Okay. Woo, woo.
Bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you. Woo, woo.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
All right.
Have
Wow.
a good one, y'all.
Thanks, Aimee. Oh, yeah, she had to go take care of her little one. Well, fun, huh?
I really like her. I'm getting a little teary. She was so lovely.
She is lovely. She's a great.
Does she have that lovely gold energy even when like in person? 'Cause
Always, yeah.
I knew it. I know she does. I liked her a lot.
I have great friends, don't I?
You do.
I really do. I don't I don't know what they see in me. I don't know. I do have great friends. And that was one of those things. Like John was the husband. Was always a great friend of mine. We did. I met him, and we might have him on the show. I met him doing The Tempest in university, and
Okay.
he was kind of one of the
Shakespeare.
Yeah, Shakespeare. Literally sort of met him like backstage when he got thrown in as a cast, and I remember breaking his balls and stuff. Anyway, and we became really
We'll quack that.
friendly. We became friendly, and you know, you see friends with girlfriends and partners and things like that, and you kind of some of them you go, oh, okay, ooh, okay, good, and you always want them to. And we were all a crowd, as you do in those, you know.
Yeah.
So if a buddy brings in somebody brings in a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend into the clique, you're always kind of going, who's the, are they going to fit in? Yeah. So I think we were all really very pleased when John brought Aimee around.
You really are like an archivist. I don't know, a memory, because Todd, I promise you, when I think about my past, like if I remember something, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, this had happened. Oh, that's right. Oh, and this person, it's like a big deal, but you talk about it like, oh yeah. I remember that because I was at bloop, bloop, bloop. I've thought about this before because I remember it and I know it.
Yeah.
Like the things are there. You don't
Okay,
have to
yeah.
find them.
No,
Like
I
it's
think if I think
how?
of people and I remember the times we've had, then it's easy for me to kind of have these memories of, what we were doing and when, and
I think that
compartmentalizing the
compartmentalizing,
periods of life that I've had. Yeah, I've lived a few lives.
probably makes you. I think that helps you be such a good producer too, because you're so
Hmm.
good at like knowing. You're really good at just like knowing how. Sorry, we were supposed to be talking about Aimee. Now I'm
Right.
talking about you. But
It's
you're
okay.
good
I
at
can
like
handle it.
knowing compartmental. Like like it's supposed to be like this. So then because of
Mm.
that, we do that. Like you.
Mm.
Which I think like an archivist, you have like the
Mm.
archives there. So where you're like, okay, I want to do this. This is what I need to do. Bloop, it's pulled. I
Yep.
don't know. I think it helps you a lot. You really are.
Oh,
Anyway,
well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I would
yeah.
like to return that compliment, but
You don't have to.
I don't know
You
how.
that's fine. You don't. I hate counter compliments
You
anyway.
hate it, yeah.
No. Counter compliments are the
Yeah.
bane of existence. So
I've
please
got,
don't.
yeah. Okay, I won't.
And I wasn't
Um,
even complimenting you. I was just stating.
You're
a
just
fact.
stating facts. Well, that is much appreciated. Thank you so much. But yeah, so great to have Aimee on board. Thank you, Aimee,
Thank
for
you.
joining us today and waking up early. And we're gonna have maybe we'll hear more from that whole crew. Joel, who we mentioned, shout out, and Johnny Miles, a great friend.
Hope so.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun people, and maybe we'll hear more from all of them at some point.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jay.
Thank you, Todd.
And that's the end of this episode of the Offstage Acting Podcast. Big thanks to our boy Andy for solving all the technical issues and getting up early where he is and taking care of us. And Aimee for getting up early. I think it was about 6:30.
Ooh, and don't forget to vote.
Don't forget to vote July 4th if you're in England. And we'll see you next time on the Offstage Acting Podcast.
By the way, I also meant vote for like our podcast being, for the like vote for our podcast.
Oh, I meant
mean,
to
I guess
mention that. I was
too.
going to mention that in the preamble.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that's me. That was me trying to mention
To
that.
vote.
did
I was like, what's he
He
talking
sent
about?
me that. I voted.
Voting. I was like, what's he talking about voting?
Okay, edit this and keep this part in, everyone. Get up,
Okay, check out the
vote. Vote,
That's
everyone.
right. So there is a there is a British Podcasting Awards.
Yes.
Check out the trailer. We'll put the links here in the show notes. You can
It's so easy, you guys.
So
you
easy.
literally just go to the website, say vote, and then type in Offstage Acting and say vote.
4 clicks, British Podcasting Awards. We're trying to get an award, people, from our audiences, and you could
Todd
help us
deserves
out.
it. Todd deserves the validation, everyone. He's put in too much effort. Anyway, that's it.
There it is. Okay.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun. Thanks again.
How's the pie?
So good.